In a recent video, we discussed the 10 challenges that we're going to face in the coming year. As preppers, we understand that it's crucial to not allow these issues to define us, but rather it's our responsibility to take practical steps toward being ready. These actionable items that we're about to cover in this video will take prepping a step further than merely fixating on the doom and gloom of extreme threats, which often, let's be honest, take center stage in our community. By merely focusing on the extreme possibilities, it really only serves to deter us from focusing on the practical prepping for the real world, the everyday threats that will very likely impact us all. For some, these action items that we're about to outline, they may seem trivial. Others may be already doing them to some degree and will see this as an opportunity to really double down on their efforts and fortify themselves. While I'm always careful with this channel of not speaking or trying to not speak in extreme terms, every indicator points toward, how should I say it, difficult times ahead. But to balance that, we're not victims here, nor will we be. And that's why we do what we do. We prepare. I hope you're going to listen to what I'm about to outline and form a plan that works for you and your family. These points are very practical and they will put you in a position to be ready. So let's jump in. Download the Start Preparing Survival Guide to help you prepare for any disaster. I'll post a link in the description and comments section below, or visit cityprepping.com/get started for a free guide to help you get started on your journey of preparedness. Prioritize your finances. As we covered in the previous video, we're in what many economists consider the early stages of a recession. It's increasingly likely that things will get worse financially in the coming year. There are multiple factors putting downward pressure on the markets. The way to endure and emerge stronger from a downward market is by prioritizing your financial situation as one of your preps. Financially positioning yourself to survive can be challenging during a global recession when your hard-earned dollars buy less, inflation and interest rates increase, and you don't have much to begin with. If you stockpile food, water, general household supplies, silver, or anything else and don't have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund of cash, you're really not thinking for the long term. Also, if we're lucky, you will one day be old. How is your retirement fund looking? I'm always baffled by the number of people with very few plans for when they're 50 or 60 or more years of age. So many people are caught up in the day-to-day that they don't take time to consider what they'll do when a disaster robs them of their possessions, an injury forces them out of work, or some unforeseen circumstance destroys their earning potential. When was the last time you reviewed your 401k plan? Have you set it up and forgotten about it? Are you taking advantage of total employer matching contributions? Do you have a tax-free college savings plan for the kids or grandkids? Do you have a living will, or will you pass your debt burdens and your financial mess to your kids to sort out? Are you prepared for when your car breaks down or your employer suddenly lays you off work? I'm not a financial planner or advisor, but there are 6 things that you can do right now to build a strong foundation for the future. Number 1, insure your home and possessions against disasters. Review your policies and coverage. If you live in a disaster zone, you absolutely have to figure out a way to insure your home and possessions. Number 2, insure yourself with a life insurance and long-term care policy. If something happens to you, you will have peace of mind that your inheritors will have the resources they need to sort it out. Number 3, trim unused subscriptions and memberships. Plenty of people have entertainment services, other subscriptions, and gym memberships that they haven't used or have barely used in months. Look at these and eliminate the ones that you don't use enough. If you're going to a gym and you pay $20 a month but just only visit twice per month, you're essentially paying about $10 a visit. Number 4, buy in bulk and cook for yourself. Have you looked at the price for eating out for just one meal these days? Restaurant prices increased by 12% last year, and they will go up from there this next year. Number 5, save 10%. Whether building an emergency fund by putting money in a coffee can or a savings account, you must try to set aside 10% of your income and not touch it. When you have 3 months or more of living expenses set aside, you'll be well positioned to survive most disasters. Shockingly, just $500 as an emergency fund puts you better than 47% of the people in America. Number 6, know where it goes. Start by understanding where every dollar goes. Then build a plan that allows you to save and cut costs where you can, even as the economy tanks further. There's so much more that can be said, but I encourage you to start with these 6 simple steps for next year. Implement each in some small way. You can download our free recession-proof guide for even more information. If you do a little of each, you'll face disasters with greater resiliency. I'm not saying that money will be the solution to everything that can happen, but it sure does fix many things. Get your finances in order before you worry about prepping for more remote possibilities. Grow your own food. We've covered the challenges facing agricultural production in several videos this year. The supply chain remains frazzled. A big war and lockdowns are already straining low agricultural output, and crops suffer from extreme weather and expensive fertilizer worldwide. I cannot stress enough how this will impact our food supply. It will only result in higher prices and diminished variety, if you're lucky. Some countries will face shortages and even famine. It will get far worse this next year. Your food preps are like a tank of gas. When they are all used up, you can't go any further. This next year, you must start to grow something, anything, to supplement your food supply. A hermetically sealed canister of seeds might help you rebuild after societal collapse, but increasing your current food supply is more practical. Gardening isn't something you just pick up overnight, and many of us aren't blessed with large yards or green spaces where we can grow enough food to sustain ourselves solely. Recognizing this, we started a series on the channel specific to growing your own food in small spaces that we'll be focusing on over the next several months. We're taking a ground-up approach, beginning with the basics, building what we need over the next few winter months, and planning a full deployment in spring. You should check out that first video in the series and grow with this next year. It will enhance your food security in the present, future, and especially after any disaster. I always recommend starting with a solid food supply, but learning to grow your own food is a critical and necessary step. Even if it's in a small garden, the key is to develop this skill, as it will be a crucial skill for you in the future. Physical health. If you haven't got your health, you don't have anything. When your car won't run or there's no gas coming to your area, will you be able to walk the 5, 10, or 20 or more miles home from work? Could you lift yourself over a 6-foot wall? Will you be successful in the high stress and strained environment of the aftermath of a disaster? Time will tell, but you should be doing what you can to prioritize your physical health. Even job loss or separation stress can raise our cortisol levels and throw off our biological systems into craziness. The risk of stroke and sleep deprivation skyrocket in the wake of these. The solution is to build your physical health almost every day. You need to find a plan that works for you. For some, that may be as simple as passing on a night of Netflix and walking the dog after work. For others, it can mean a commitment to hiking, bicycling, or gardening. Find a plan that will work for you, and then make it work for you. It's easy to say, I want to get in shape, or I want to lose weight. When I did my marathon last year, I found a plan online. It gave me a clear path to prepare for my marathon. If you're interested in weightlifting, for example, I enjoy the workout plans at bodybuilding.com. I have no affiliation with them, and I'm only recommending it as a solution that I use. I like their app, which I can use at the gym to track my lifting. For cardio, I enjoy the Apple Fitness app. Well, you can exercise with plenty of videos on YouTube, things like yoga, tai chi, treadmills, and more. I like the feel of having a trainer push me in the app and being able to keep track of the calories burned and heart rate through the watch. While they do have a cost associated with them, I view them from the perspective of prioritizing my health and the values that they provide. Our video, How to Physically Prepare for SHTF, Functional Fitness and Nutrition, is a good starting point for further exploration of this. There's plenty in there for you to build off of, but you have to be more physically ready to face the challenges this next year because the challenges may be more significant. Mental health. This is probably the best point to segue into addressing your mental health, as your physical fitness enhances it. So far, this decade has been nothing short of a crazy-making stress bomb, and many out there are pushing the craziness even further. Politics are divisive and leaving neighbors turning on neighbors. Algorithms on social media try to get our juices flowing and feed us a one-sided narrative designed to excite, anger, and get a rise out of us. The power goes out, our gas station runs out of gas, or our stores no longer have the food we need. The modern world seems designed to make us frantic and crazy and then sell us a calming solution. The disasters that we will face next year, the rising costs of everything, and the long hours put in with our currency buying less and less will all be a crazy-making recipe. The very act of prepping also acknowledges that things may get far worse tomorrow than they are already today. There's anxiety and stress in knowing that you are readying yourself for darker days tomorrow. That's why you will hear on this channel that you must take continual steps to secure your mental health and stability. You must avoid the high cortisol releasing confrontations when you need to focus on your own inner calmness. We released a video about this called 6 Things You Must Do Now Mentally to Prepare for What's Coming Next, which is an excellent foundation for you to build upon. There are many challenges on the horizon. I've read recently about the explosion of depression and other mental health issues that have come from the events of the last several years. If you feel overwhelmed right now, you need to do something about that. Find helping resources, build your community and network, strengthen your connections to the things that keep you grounded and stable. At a bare minimum, confide your anxiety-laden concerns with someone you trust. It's okay if you have to take time off from social media, the news, or preparedness videos. If you feel overwhelmed, take a step back from it all. Trust me, it will all be here when you return to it. Actionable goals. Finally, I encourage you to set realistic, attainable goals. Go ahead and make them ambitious, but not outlandish. You may want to grow 10 pounds of your own food, or 100. Maybe you'd like to be able to walk 1, 5, or 10 miles. Perhaps you'd like to just be able to save 10% of your income for emergency use. Personally, I tend to dream big, and I have to continuously pull myself back to today. I have to force myself to understand that tomorrow's possibilities are seeded with today's actions. Ask yourself how you want to be positioned in the future and then go, yeah, okay, but how do I start working towards that today? If there's a skill or goal you want to achieve, find a plan that clearly lays it out. For example, don't just say you want a year's supply of food, but find a plan explaining how to achieve this. I outline how you can do that for just pennies per day in an earlier video called How to Build a 1 Year of Food Storage, the Ultimate Guide. With how much greater confidence and peace of mind will you face the challenges of this next year if you know you have food to eat despite what the world throws at you? Convert your prepping goals into actionable plans. Instead of saying, I want to have enough water stored for 3 weeks for my family, say, in order to have enough water for 3 weeks for my family of 4, I'll need a minimum of 4 gallons per day for 21 days, which means I need 84 gallons of water. How will I store 84 gallons of water? I can buy a 55-gallon drum, which I can stick in my garage, and then get 6 5-gallon water containers. I'll sit down and calculate these costs and then set aside an amount of money each month to save up and purchase these. Instead of defining a lofty goal, determine the steps it will take to achieve that goal. It's really that simple. I'll link to a great introduction water storage guide that you can reference here. 8 best water storage options for emergencies. If you just turn your food and water requirements into actionable goals this next year, you will conquer most disasters that can occur and will emerge stronger. These 5 items you can act upon today may seem simple to some and impossible to others. We're all at different stages of readiness. We face different threats and disasters depending upon our situation in life and our geography. And some threats are global and will impact us in some ways. You can do something today to fortify your tomorrow, whether that's preparing your finances, your food, your water, your mental and physical health, or growing your own food to free yourselves from dependence on supply chains that will fail us. I would encourage you to commit to do something today, no matter how small it may be. Storms are going to come. Political unrest will likely continue. Wars will continue. Inflation will continue. The list, it could go on and on without end. Accepting this can ratchet up our stress and affect our health and well-being, but you maintain control through prepping. Remember the words of the Roman philosopher Musonius Rufus. We must concern ourselves absolutely with the things that are under our control and entrust the things not in our control to the universe. I have to agree. Make a plan and work a plan to make the problems of next year less consequential to you. Hopefully this video will give you some practical steps that you can take. If you have any feedback or any thoughts or anything that you think would benefit the community, feel free to post that below. And as always, please stay safe out there.